Hi, attorney Gregory Dell here with Jason Macri. How are you, Jason?
Hi, Greg. How are you?
And today, Jason and I are going to discuss truck accidents that take place in the state of Florida and what you should know if you've been involved in a serious motor vehicle accident with a truck. Now, Jason, you've handled a couple hundred truck accident cases for some very seriously injured people. Can you talk a little bit about what are the most important steps that should be taken following a truck accident?
Absolutely. If a person becomes injured in an accident involving a truck, right away they need to get medical attention. That's obviously the most important aspect. Get emergency medical care, whether it be by going to a hospital, an urgent care center, or a doctor that you know that can address your injuries. That's the number one thing for a person who's been injured in a trucking accident to do. After that, what they should do is they should consult a lawyer, because there are a lot of different rules that trucking companies need to follow, and only a lawyer who's skilled in handling trucking accidents would know those rules and would know what to do regarding that accident.
So, from the stage, obviously all the trucking accidents that we handle, the people are almost always going to the hospital, whether it's via ambulance, via a trauma copter, whatever it may be. And you say contact a lawyer, but what do you really do once we get involved in the claim and why is it so important to get involved early in the claim?
It's very important to get a lawyer involved early because there's a lot of investigating that would need to be done in any trucking accident. A lawyer is going to be able to bring on an expert, a trucking expert, and that expert will accompany the lawyer. They'll go over all of the evidence. They'll take a look at each vehicle that was involved. The expert would be able to secure the black box, which is a data recorder that is typically inside of any large truck that would be able to record what speed that truck was traveling, how long that truck was on the road, where it was coming from, where it was going, and the list goes on with regard to that type of data. It's very important for your lawyer and your lawyer's expert to know exactly what that truck was doing at the time of your accident, because ultimately you'll need to prove that the driver of that truck was negligent and that the driver of that truck caused your accident. It's extremely important for us to prove that.
Now, I know on a weekly basis that you're traveling all throughout the state, arriving at recent scenes of trucking accidents, and you often meet experts there. But why do you feel it's so important for you to actually go to these scenes and to go there relatively soon after the accident takes place?
It's very important for me as a lawyer to actually see the scene and to be able to determine what happened, because keep in mind that ultimately I'm going to have to prove that the driver of that truck was negligent. It's important for me to see the property damage, to get an idea of how serious this damage was, and also get an idea of where the damage on every vehicle is, because ultimately, as we all know, that helps determine how the accident happened, where the vehicles were situated at the time that the accident happened. If I'm able to get out to the scene of a trucking accident and it's more or less a fresh accident, that really gives me an advantage when it comes down to being able to know exactly how this accident happened.
Now, I know also you're always going to look at the trucks that have been involved in the accident as well as the vehicle of our client. Why is it important for you to see that and photograph that type of evidence?
It's very important for me to see it, very important for me to photograph it, because it'll enable me to know exactly how the accident happened, and the photographs will enable me to prove to a jury how the accident happened. Because if I cannot resolve this claim for my client, ultimately I'll have to bring that to a jury. And I'll have to be able to show a jury exactly how the accident happened and to what level the damage was. And so those photographs, especially if I can get them early on, before either they start deteriorating, the damage I'm talking about, before the damage starts deteriorating, or even before the damage is repaired, if I can have those photographs of when that accident was fresh, that'll really enable me to prove it to a jury.
Should a person who's been involved in an auto accident with a truck release their vehicle to the insurance company before it's been photographed or inspected?
No, a person that's been involved in an auto accident with a truck wants to be able to document exactly what happened to their vehicle before they go releasing it to any insurance companies. So by documenting it, I mean just photograph that vehicle to the best of your ability. whether it be any damage to the outside of the vehicle, whether the airbag has deployed, you'll want to photograph that. If the seatbelt you were wearing broke or had some type of damage to it as a result of the accident, you would want to photograph that. Anything that happened to that vehicle when you were in it during that accident, you would want to document it with photographs.
Are there specific laws in place that apply to truck drivers or people who are driving commercial motor vehicles that don't necessarily apply to people driving the everyday automobile that most of us have?
Absolutely. There are many laws that apply to drivers of commercial vehicles that just simply don't apply to the rest of us drivers. For example, a driver of a commercial vehicle cannot be on the road for an extended period of time without taking a rest. They can't travel a certain distance in any particular period of time without taking a rest. There are so many different restrictions on a commercial driver that are simply not placed on average drivers like you or I that are in the statutes. They're in the federal statutes and they're in the local statutes. Commercial drivers must comply with all of these rules in order to be in compliance with the law.
Now, I know you've been studying those laws and worked with those laws for years, and they're often evolving, yet we still see so many trucking accidents on a daily basis because, more often than not, because of fatigued drivers. Is that something that you're seeing a lot of recently?
It's big. Keep in mind that commercial driving is a business, and ultimately the owner of the company needs to try to get as much out of their employee as possible, and so they push them to the limit. And a lot of the drivers want to be able to perform as well. They want to be able to drive for extended periods of time and move as much cargo as possible. When they do that, however, they're typically violating commercial driving laws. They're driving for too long of a period of time without taking a rest, or they're driving for too long of a distance without also stopping and taking a rest. It's very important that a commercial driver get rest and that they not be falling asleep or be fatigued while on the road.
Now, I know we research all of these things, and especially when we file lawsuits in some of the commercial trucking cases to try to show the egregious actions taken by the driver or by the employer for hiring a driver who may not have a good driving history. And what we're really doing is not only trying to build a better case, but trying to get it to a level where possibly we can get punitive damages against this particular party for causing this type of accidents, which probably could have been avoided.
That's right.
So if you've been involved in a accident with a commercial truck or any type of truck for that matter, feel free to give us a call. We always offer a free initial consultation. We never charge any fees or costs unless we make a recovery for you, and we're available 24 hours a day to take your call. Thank you.
Thank you.